Hello everyone and welcome back to a new session for Computer Science 1. This session I want to talk in brief about the final exam and point out the important topics and review for chapters 1 through 6. Right now I'm on Canvas. I want to go to the syllabus just so we know where we are. So right now we are in here. Review for final exam chapter 1 and 6. These are the dates and times for in-person exams. Our final exam is going to be similar to all our previous tests. So basically it's going to be online and it's going to be within period of time that you are free to submit whenever you are ready. With that being said, I also need you to know that you have practice quizzes under quizzes. So practice quizzes, you have all the quizzes from 1 through 13. These are the chapters that are included in the final exam. I strongly recommend that you do these tests. The exam is going to be similar to previous exams. You're going to have true, false. You're going to have multiple choice. You have definitions and then programming question. For the programming question, you are allowed to use Visual Studio, but not in any previous sections. So right now I have the book in front of me. So I have chapter 1. You need to know from chapter 1 there is no like coding, and I think also chapter 2 there is no coding. It's just knowledge and information. So from chapter 1 you would need to know, I'm on page 1, chapter 1, Introduction to Computers and Programs. So you need to know what is a program and why do we program? What is hardware? What is software? What is the difference between hardware and software? You need to know the components of a computer, CPU, primary memory, secondary memory. That's called the organization of a CPU and computers in the book. You need to know input devices, output devices. You need to know software, the definition of software. You might find something like, what is a software? As a definition question. You need to know the different categories of software, system software, application software. You need to know programming languages. What is a program and what is a programming language? And you can skip this next part here. You can skip compiling code. You can skip that. You need to know what are the language elements. Basically, every programming language has set of elements. This set of elements is common among all programming languages. Every programming language has elements, which are keywords, programmer-defined identifiers, operators, punctuation, and syntax. That's table 1-2 from page 14. You need to know those and their definition on the following pages. Definition of operators, definition of punctuation, etc. You need to know what is a variable, what are lines and statements. You need to know what is a variable definition. You need to know um, the process of every program. Every program has an input, processing, and output. That's section 1.5. So you need to get familiar with this topic just to refresh your memory. What is software engineering and what is procedural programming? This is for chapter 1. Chapter 1 is pretty straightforward. It's easy and there is no coding in it. Now I'm going to jump to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is Introduction to C++. You need to know what are the parts of a C++ program. C++ programs have parts and components that serve specific purposes. You need to know the basic C++ program. Basically, you need include IOStream. You need using namespace std. You need a main function, return 0, and some code in that main to maybe display hello world. Other than that, you need to know the cout object, how to use it, and what is a cout object. Of course, you need to know how to display a line on the screen. You need to know the escape sequences. Table 2-2, page 35, common escape sequences. You need to know what is the include directive. You need to know what is a variable, what is a literal, and the assignment, basically to assign a literal to the variable. You need to know what is an integer and how many different integer types do we have. We have short int, unsigned short int, you have int, you have unsigned int, you have long int, etc. That's table 2-6, and you need to know the sizes. You don't need to know the range of those integers, but you need to be familiar with the size of the integers, specifically the default one, which is 4 bytes integer. You need to know the char type and its size. You need to know the C++ string class, and you need to know the C string. So there is a C++ string and there is a C string. The C++ string is a class that you include and use. The C string is an array of characters that is terminated by a null character. Floating point, you need to know the floating point. You need to know the Boolean data type. You need to know arithmetic operators. Okay, you need to know scope of each variable. When you declare a variable, what is the scope of that variable? Comments, multi-line comments, and block comments. You need to know constants. You can skip a programming style. This is for chapter 2. I believe chapter 3 is where the coding part starts. Chapter 3, expressions and interactivity. You need to know the CN object, how to use it, and what is the CN object. You need to know mathematical expressions and the operator precedence, which executes first, the addition, or the subtraction, or the multiplication, or etc. You need to know, can skip this. You need to know integer division. You need to know typecasting. combined assignment and multiple assignment. You need to know formatting output for sure. That's using like set precision. They might be coming as knowledge or true false or programming, where I basically ask you, for example, what does the set precision do and how, give an example. Um, or the programming question can strict you in a certain format, so you will have to use uh, formatting output. You need to know the fixed manipulator, the show point. You need to know the left and right operators. Of course, you need to know random numbers, random number generation or generating. That's it. Well, that was fast for chapter 3. Hmm, interesting. Okay. Now jumping to chapter 4, making decisions. Chapter 4, making decisions. You need to know relational operators. You need to know um, the if statement. You need to know comparing floating point numbers, why we cannot compare floats and double. You need to know else. Basically, you need to know the if and you need to know the if else. You need to know nested if and chained if. You need to know logical operators. Checking, you can skip that. You can skip menus for now. Comparing characters and strings, you can skip. You need to know the conditional operator. The switch statement. That's it for chapter 4. Jumping to chapter 5. I can't find chapter 5. So chapter 5 is loops and files. We need to know the increment and decrement operator or operators. You need to know the difference between postfix and prefix. We need to know how to use them, of course. So the knowledge and the usage. You need to know the while loop. You need to know post-test versus pre-test loops. Which loops basically are pre-test, which loops are post-test. So you need to know the while loop. You need to know counters, the do-while loop, and the for loop. How to keep a running total. You need to know sentinels. You need to know nested loops. You need to know files. You need to know how to open a file, how to check if the file has been opened successfully, how to access the file, whether to read or to write, and finally, you need to know how to close a file. This is important. How to detect the end of file. You need to know the continue statement and the break statement. This is for chapter 5. Now chapter 6, which is functions. You need to know how to define a function and how to call a function. You need to know function prototypes. You need to know how to send data into a function, how to send one variable and more than one variable to a function. You need to know what's the difference between pass by data, pass by value, and pass by reference. You need to know what's this return statement. You need to know how to return a value from a function. You need to know what is a local variable and what's a global variable. You need to know what's a static variable, whether it's global or local. What is a static variable? What is, you need to know default arguments. You can skip this. You need to know overloading functions. You can skip exit. And you can skip stopped and drivers. Okay, this is pretty much it. Um, it's not gonna be tricky. It's not gonna be and not nothing trying to get you to fail. So as long as you cover the basic knowledge, you should be okay. It should be easy and straight forward. Good luck and talk to you soon, whether it's on Zoom, one-on-one, one-to-one, or via email. And I will prepare the reviews for the following chapters. Thank you.